Okay, let's start the webinar.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Sergio Barona, Secretary General of FEDACOVA, and I would like to welcome you to this webinar on new opportunities for circular economy projects in the agri-food sector that will link to the Green Deal goals. I hope that it will help you all, as our head of projects and R&D&I has told me. Both the Green Deal and the New Horizon EU program are very new programs with many peculiarities, and it is difficult to assimilate so many goals as well as all the requirements in such a short time. First of all, I would like to thank all the participants for the contribution. I hope that you will leave this seminar with clear concepts and with project ideas, a list of contacts, and willing to participate in these Green Deal calls. I'd like to especially thank the partners of the Embrace project, a project of the Interact Med program, through which the initiative of this project was born. I would especially like to thank them for their support and dissemination of the calls for the webinar. Finally, I would also like to thank FEDACOVA's project and R&D&I department that has worked hard to be able to carry out such an interesting initiative, to promote knowledge about the Green Deal, encouraging participation with this webinar by the innovative tender to present proposals and do online networking within this session. I will ask you all to be very focused during the webinar. From the first speaker, our young project and R&D&I department expert, Javier Lahuerta, who you already know, Ismael Label, who you also, most of you know, Jorge Hernández from the University of Liverpool, and Ana Palanca from Aimplas. They are very experienced professionals in the field with lots of knowledge, and they will surely teach us all lots of interesting things. I hope you find this webinar very useful, and also that initiatives and proposals may arise from it. We at FEDACOVA will be delighted to collaborate with you and also support any proposal that comes from here. Without further delay, allow me to let Javier give you a brief overview of what the Green Deal is, where it comes from, what the main lines that we're looking for, and a review of each goal. Thanks again, and I hope you enjoy and learn it a lot. Bye. Javier.
Thank you very much, Sergio. Now we are gonna start with the webinar. First of all, I'm gonna remember the agenda. Now we are gonna start with the workshop about circular economy and the Green Deal. How can we apply projects about the Green Deal in terms of agri-food and wine sector for circular economy? And later on, our colleague from the University of Liverpool, Jorge Hernández, he will present a project proposal ongoing for the goal Farm to Fork. Later on, Ana Palanca, from the project manager from Aimplas Plastic Research Center from here, from our region, from Valencia, she will present another project idea linked to the main task, main target, what is plastics. And later on, Ismael Abel, our sustainable and innovation expert, he will contribute explaining some project proposals and ideas we have here in FEDACOVA, which are also linked to the Green Deal call. And later on, we will proceed with some dynamics in order to exchange ideas, exchange contacts, exchange projects, and so on. We hope everybody learns a lot, and we hope to be able to exchange many ideas, many proposals, and if it's possible, to create a consortium or proposals for the Green Deal or future calls. Now I'm gonna start with the webinar, explaining what is FEDACOVA. Maybe you want to explain FEDACOVA? Okay, so FEDACOVA is the Food Industries Federation from Valencia region, which brings together 30 different food industries associations, which represent more than 2,000 SMEs, and it means the 70% of the agri-food sector in our region. It goes, our SMEs goes from very small or big farms and fruit producers to the biggest supermarket in Spain. Also, our main group, what are the food industries, like pastry industry, meat industry, and also oil exporters and all kind of shops, municipal markets, butcheries, and so on. And our main tasks here in FEDACOVA are three: the quality and food safety, and later on we have also the internationalization. Our internationalization department try to promote and help the industries, the companies, the SMEs, to promote the agri-food products, our agri-food products from our region all over the world, in many fairs, promoting with trades and so on, and also the R&D&I and projects department, um, that have been involved in more than 20 European projects in the past 10 years. And I also have to talk and thanks the Embrace project. It's a EU-funded project by the Interreg program. Would try to develop tools and networks in order to promote the circular economy in the agri-food and wine sector in the Med area. I have to thank the coordinator from T2I and all the partners, especially to those who have been more in touch with us in the final days, in the final months. This project, it's there are a lot of partners from 7 different countries, all about the Med area, and it includes SMEs, innovation agencies, cluster, and public bodies. Now we're going to talk about what is the circular economy. Here, this graphic, this photo is in Spanish. I'm sorry, but I really like because it represents what really requires and really transmit what is the circular economy. And I want to explain and I want to share with you how is the paradigm in the last century. The economy was in a linear economy, and here we have that the main strategy was to just produce, take all the products, produce, use it, and then withdraw it. It creates a huge amount of waste. So we started with the paradigm of recycling, and this paradigm was starting in the same way: take our product, produce it, use it, and then some of them were recycled for produce again and use it and then withdraw it. It didn't solve the problem that we live in one planet, but the estimation from the European Union, it says that for the 2050, we will consume 3 times all the products and all the resources that our planet, our world can bring to us. That's why circular economy is so important, because we have to stop taking every time new and new resources. We have to produce it, and then after we use it, we have to reuse it, we have to repair it, we have to return it, we have to recycle it, and we have to produce it again. We have to try to use as much possible the resources at the end of their life. Those resources we used to say waste, and we have to use it in the way we can use it and keep them in the value chain. What is circular economy? The Basque president, the Basque country is a region in Spain. The Basque president said in a agri-food conference in 2007 that in the year 2000, more than 90% of the materials they were using in the economy, they did not return into the economy. From this time, following the European Union initiatives, they brought the GPD the 26%, and they reduced the use of materials the 25%. It means that it's possible to grow the GPD reusing the materials. Why is so important? In Europe, every year, more than 2.5 million of tons of waste are generated, what means 5 tons per habitant. There are many initiatives to try to reduce the waste we generate in our houses, in our urban areas, but this is also not the main problem, because maybe for when you go to supermarket, maybe you don't buy now the plastic bags, but you are taking plastics into the spaghetti you are buying, in the bottle of water you are taking, in the hamburger you are taking those plastics. Those are also important waste that we are generating, but also in the main industries. When we are producing, they need big bags to keep all the rice and all the products, and those are also some excellent, some waste we are using. That's why the circular economy is based on the principles of design out waste pollution and keep the products in use. The circular economy in the agri-food sector is an opportunity to be more efficient because it's an opportunity to reuse our resources in a more efficient way and don't throw it that easy. What means that maybe we can extend the life of those products, and what means those products will be more useful. Why is so important? Because, for example, in Spain, the agri-food sector accounts the 11% of the GPD in our country. And also, in recent studies, it says that we can reuse almost all the waste, not all, but the last research say about the 90% of the waste the agri-food sector generates. Now we're going to talk about the Green Deal. What's the Green Deal? The Green Deal, not the new Green Deal, just the Green Deal, the European Green Deal, is the transforming project or proposal mission that the European Union is promoting in order to create a more sustainable future. It's important to check all the data. As I said, the European Union, an important research they made, they proposed that for the 2050, we will have consumed more than 3 times the resources we are in the planet, in our world, because of the important amount of increasing and demand of products we consume and we need for our lives. So the main idea is to make the European Union's economy sustainable and free of CO2 and production for the 2020. In a first analysis, we have about the Green Deal made by the European Institute of Environmental Policy, following the Mariana Mazzucato thesis. It recommends to create kind of missions, the strategy of missions, in order to promote the Green Deal. This institute, they thought that the strategy for the Green Deal, the strategy we are using, it's still a bit not accurate about what the current world is demanding, because we can leave many knowledge without funding, without project, and maybe those maybe those projects funded can be the solution for many of our problems. But this institute evaluate possibly 3 topics: what are important for us, the importance for the agri-food sector, and what importance for the circular economy. Those 3 topics are the waste management, the energy efficiency, and the clean industrial technologies. It means that we will be able to have possibly impact on our circular economy project about waste management, how to reduce it, how to recycle it, how to rebuild it, and how to reproduce it. And also about the clean industrial technologies. As far as we work on the create on clean industries, we'll figure out that we can reuse a lot of our products and a lot of the energy we need. We can produce energy with our waste. That's something really interesting, or we can produce a new product with our waste. That's something not that innovative, because it's already working in circular economy. And what has to be innovative is to apply those strategies all around the economy and the supply chain. The Green Deal and the circular economy. The 3 main the 3 main topics for the for the Green Deal and circular economy are to make Europe the first climate neutral continent by 2050, and boosting sustainable economy, improving the people's health and quality life. And finally, one of the main important strategies for the European Union, one of the main important needs, is to do not leave nobody behind. Not the people, not the environment, not the nature, not the oceans, not the industries and the SMEs. The important for the European Union in this case, and there are a lot of strategies out that and a lot of calls and plans, is to work together and promote the Green Deal for everybody, for industries, SMEs, supermarkets, citizens, really important, municipalities and public bodies, especially those in the countrysides and the populated areas, and also the environment. Why the circular economy is one of the main targets? As to create a clean and circular economy, it's important, as I said, because it's important to revert the biodiversity loss and cut the pollution. And the circular economy is one of the main targets and one of the main opportunities we have for that, ensuring inclusive transition. But the Green Deal is not nothing really new. To be fair, if we study about the last 20 years of the European Union, there are a lot of treaties and a lot of initiatives to promote kind of baby green deals. And in the background, we can check that in the Treaty of Amsterdam, we have already sustainable and develop sustainable objectives and trying to develop the European Union in a clean way. And also in the Treaty of the European Union, it already has a sustainable development vision for Europe to balance the economic growth with a highly competitive market and sustainability and trying to achieve the full employment and social progress with a high level of protection and high level of quality life. But also, there is not just treaties. In the last years, there are a lot of specific investment plans from the European Union, born from those uh, plans from those treaties. For example, we can talk about the RDF plan. Here, it's the Interreg plan, would try to aim and create the important links and promote, for example, the blue growth, the green growth, the efficient building, promoting the use of renewable energies and protection of the sustainability and biodiversity. So the Green Deal Action Plan tries to target some goals. The most important are to restore the biodiversity and to boost efficient resources management for all the economy. Some strategic goals are reaching sectors what are traditionally not including sustainable economy and including them. Investing in environmental friendly technologies, that's really important. We will talk later and we will introduce some projects that can achieve this goal. Supporting the industry to innovate in a cleaner way, rolling out cleaner and cheaper, healthier forms of private and public transport, decarbonization the energy sector, promoting more renewable resources and energy fund, and working with international partners. Indeed, the Green Deal has one exclusive line for the cooperate with external continents and countries. That is the line number 11. Some data about the Green Deal. There are 11 thematics. There are 19 proposals. Some of the thematics have different proposals or subtopics. The expected amount of projects that are going to be found, that are going to be present, are about 1,000 projects, but the expected amount of projects that are going to be found, there are about 170 to 2,050. And the total amount of euros going to be invested in the Green Deal is 1 billion. For the Spanish people, and I also think the Portuguese people, 1 billion, it's 1,000 million of euros, not what we think 1 billion, because what is for us 1 billion is 1 trillion for the European Union. Talking about this current Green Deal call, it's 1 billion for the Horizon 2030 program and the calls that are going to close for the 26th of January. But the whole Green Deal will be 1 trillion euros, or what is the equivalent of the Spanish GPD. How are we gonna achieve? How the European Union are going to achieve this goal? It's about 503 billion for the environmental and climate change. Some investments from the European Bank and investment warranty program. There is also co-financing from structural funds, the transition mechanism, and also counting with public-private investments and from the cooperation of the different countries. Again, I'm going to repeat, for this Green Deal call that we are facing the 26th of January is 1 billion or 1,000 millions, and for the total plan for 10 years will be 1 billion euros, or the equivalent, the Spanish GPD. Now, the Circular Economy Action Plan, it turns around many different areas. Some of the most important areas will be the plastics and packaging, because it produces most of the cut and loss waste in the planet. And but we can't forget also, for example, the textiles, the electronics, and the technology we are not using, automotive and batteries for new cars, or the food waste. This is important to keep in mind, this food waste, because I will explain later. It the food production produces about the 26% of the total waste in the world. Here it's some more explanation about the Circular Economy Action Plan. Will turn about sustainable product policy, engaging with the value chain, and crossing cut actions. The Circular Economy Action Plan presents new initiatives for extend the life cycle of the product. It has investment for new business models, but also the Circular Economy Action Plan will have special lines for invest and fund initiatives for change the way we consume. I will explain it later. Some of the data that the action plan brings to the agri-food means that in 2017, the packaging waste in Europe reached 173 kilograms per inhabitant. For this, the European Union prepared the climate plan action and the legislative initiative in order to substitute the single-use packaging in 2020. And in 2030, almost all the products will need to be reusable and recyclable. Some measures to introduce the prevention of waste and materials are increasing the recycling content and minimizing the waste export in Europe and promoting the consumption of products and procedure close. What means use products produced next to you or products produced around Europe. Here it's a photo from the world outgoing data, which says that the 26% of the total waste and global emissions in the world is produced about or because the food production and consumption. About the 20% it's about the supply chain and logistics, and the other is about the crops and production and the final human impact with our products. So basically, what are gonna be funded in Green Deal? Projects to improve the efficiency and sustainability, projects to improve the recycling and reuse of materials, fund social initiatives to empower the consumer, fund projects to promote the change in policies promoting sustainable economy, fund projects to reach and develop new packaging system, fund projects to develop initiatives to study second life of single-use product, and fund projects to study new sustainable materials. Now we are going to talk about the Green Deal goals. The goals for promoting the circular economy are, for example, the first area, climate action in cross-sector challenge. There are 3 different topics we can achieve. We can propose projects on circular economy. Also, obviously, the third area what talks about the industry for clean and circular economy. It's interesting because when we think in the production of food, we always think on farmers and crop fields and so on. But we also have to think about the industry. The industry is one of the main and the huge create the or needs from the circular economy, because almost all the products we consume in our home, those has to pass in the industry to ensure the quality, to ensure the food safety, and also if it must be exported, have to pass some requirements. Other goals promoting the circular economy are the fourth area, the energy resources and efficiency buildings with one goal, the eighth area with zero pollution. Here it's interesting because with circular economy we can achieve zero pollutions, protect the environment, not maybe with CO2 or other, but reusing the waste, the animals waste, the corpse, corns waste, and all this. The sub area 10, which is the social one, empowering citizens for the transition to climate neutral and sustainable Europe. It has 3 different codes. Each one is especially specialized for something, but it also it has really impact. It looks impact for the social and the educational point. And then farm to fork probably is the main one for the agri-food industry. We will talk later about this. I also want to promote a conference the days 15th and 16th of October, conference for the European Union, and I think it's going to be really interesting, and there will be a lot of information. If somebody wants some more details, you can contact me later. But I think it's a great idea to attend. It's totally open. The agenda is a bit stressful. They have a lot of meetings and conferences in a really short period of time. And here the goals promoting circular economy in farm to fork strategy are all those goals. We have 6 subtopics, but I think for this circular economy promotion, we can achieve 3 of those subtopics, 4 of those subtopics. Sorry. How can we apply the circular economy in the agri-food sector? Many studies and research say that as I showed before, the agri-food production generates 25% of the total waste and greenhouse emission in the world. Just in Spain, it's about 5 tons per person, because it's not just this waste we generate, it's also the waste that the main production in the industries, in the fields, in the farms, in the logistics, it also generates that we also have to account for us. And also one of the main and most important targets for the circular economy and the food waste is that in Europe we waste about around the 20% of the food we produce. This call, the farm to fork call, have specific topics in order to achieve reduce this amount of food. If we think that 25% of the total waste in the world it's about the food emissions, we are talking that the 5% of the global greenhouse emission and food waste, it's food that we are gonna waste. It's food that nobody gonna consume. So there are specific lines in the Green Deal proposal in the farm to fork strategy trying to achieve and solve this issue. Here, being more specifically, what goals can apply for agri-food sector. It's in the third area, industry for clean economy, the LCGD 3.1 and LCGD 2. As I said before, this perception of industry is not focused on the agri-food industry, but there are a lot industries in the agri-food production. As I say, for example, in FEDACOVA, about our 80% of our SMEs in our federation are industries or transformative not production from farms or fields, are industries. Okay, another one, as I said before, is the eighth area, cell pollution. Projects for improving the health, reducing the food waste, and in improving the production can apply for this goal. It's important to reduce the waste, but it's also important to reduce the pollution we create. There are many initiatives already in our Embrace project trying to use the food waste in order to reuse it for generating clean energy, for generating fertilizants or other materials that can be used for improve the quality in our product. The 10th area, I think it's one of the main important. As I say, this one is more focused, or the aim of this goal is the educational and social, but it doesn't exclude some projects promoting the circular economy, as the Embrace project is doing. Not just only the circular economy, we have a paradigm that it's not profitable and it's not really, and it's all focused on the industry or in the fields. But we also have to think that this kind of calls, this project can also change the education and the way the consumers produce. And then finally, we are going to farm to fork strategy. Here in the right of the screen, you can see the aim of the goal: sustainable food production, sustainable food processing and distribution, sustainable food consumption, and food loss and waste prevention. Those goals here, those subtopics are the most important, and all are linked with these four initiatives and strategies. So I think is the main target for our projects. Indeed, later on our colleagues from Aimplas and our colleague from the University of Liverpool, Jorge, who is already here in the call, and they are gonna show us two project ideas focusing on this strategy. And then I want to show and I want to indicate some important notes before ending about circular economy. This webinar is linked to the Green Deal, but we have to expect that all projects, depends on the goal, they are going to be funded around 1 to 3 million euros, 3 to 5, or 5 to 7 million euros. That's why we can expect about 170 to 250 projects. But the European Union already in the conference in the last Monday, they already said that they saw that there are many initiatives for this call, and they expect more than 1,000 projects for this Green Deal call. If we calculate an average of 15 partners per project, even we expect that many of the projects are about 20 or 30 participants, organizations. We have a result about 10,000 to 5,000 participants. As I said, there will be more than 1,000 projects, but there will be just about 170 to 250 project proposals approved because of the budget. So many of them won't be found. That's why we are gonna show you some different proposals to apply circular economy projects. We have to remember that next year, in December, we are going to change the strategic plan, and in 2021, we are going to start the new framework and the new period of the European Union, the period for 2021-2027. So the Horizon Europe, the new framework, will have different goals, and the European Union already says that 25% of the total budget will be focused on sustainability and circular economy. So there will be much more money there. Also, as I said, this Green Deal call will have 1 million euros, but it will be extended for 10 years, and there will be 1 trillion euros. Again, the Spanish GPD in comparative for projects. If we calculate this, there will be more opportunities in the coming years. Also, there are direct funds managed by national and regional authorities, funds coming from Europe, and funds that are also specifically focused on circular economy. So I invite you to check for your national and regional authorities. Here in Valencia, we have the Innovative Valencian Agency. We also have the FEDETI and the CSIC here in Spain, and so on. I invite you to check it in your own country. Also, we can't forget the ERIF funds and programs as Interreg, as I showed before, and as this webinar it's promoted by the Interreg Med project Embrace, and also the Next Generation EU and the plans for the reconstruction, the economy after COVID crisis, what will count with sorry, but I don't know even how to say it in English, 750,000 million euros for project based on sustainable growth. So this is the end of the workshop for the deal call, and now I'm gonna invite my colleague from the University of Liverpool, Jorge, to talk and expose its presentation. Good morning, Jorge.
Hi, Javier. Thank you for the invitation. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, I'm just going to allow you in one.
Okay.
Second.
Where am I? Okay. Yeah, you need to give me access to share my screen, I think.
Now you have access.
Yeah, correct. Right. So thank you to Javier for the invitation to this presentation. I fully appreciate this meeting. Currently with Javier and other partners, we belong to one very big successful Horizon 2020 project, which is called RUCAPS. If you feel like knowing more details about that, then you got my email details, so feel free to mail me about that. So that project started 4 years ago, more or less, which is about connecting and linking agri-food stakeholders in order to mitigate the impact from climate change. So during that time, we have been working with several actors. So expertise is about to connect multidisciplinary teams like agronomy, innovation, project management, technologies, universities, innovation centers, computer science, etc. So the same consortium right now, plus other members, we are working right now in a proposal which is about testing and demonstrating systemic innovations in support of farm-to-fork strategy, right? This is a particular HD20 call, and the call is the LCGD 61-2020. The deadline is the 21st of January, 2021, and the maximum budget for this is going to be around 10 millions. Basically, what is the challenge that we are looking at trying to address in this particular proposal? We understand that, for instance, the agriculture, right, is responsible for the gas emissions, right? So this means that there's a lot of contamination regarding to it, but also it's also connecting to the food production and also with the food consumption. So all these aspects contribute to the negative air pollution behavior that we are having nowadays in the world. More importantly, when we talk about climate change, we need to understand that the land needs to be prepared in the right way in order to produce the right product. So the project in particular is focusing in horticulture of vegetables, right? The production of vegetables. So we cover crops and vegetables, basically. And one of the challenge when we talk about climate change is about the not well, let's say, efficient use of fertilizer, but also to pesticides. So we have a challenge in here in how we can connect both areas. Fertilizer, we know that is in order to enhance the production, isn't it? But pesticide is also to mitigate pests. But what happens nowadays is that sometimes the wrong use of fertilizer will attract different pests, but also the wrong use of pesticide will damage the environment. So, and with climate change, we fully understand that there is a massive challenge for stakeholders in the agri-food sector, especially to farmers. So clearly, at least in Europe, there is a challenge in order to try to merge those perspectives within a view of the 2030 approach. So at least in 10 years more, the European Commission or Europe in general is expecting to provide solutions that can integrate both views, which are very competitive, by the way. Why they are competitive? Well, basically because the use of pesticides is something that is very is very present around the world. Actually, we cannot say that there is a region almost in the world that is not using pesticides. So how we can reduce the use of pesticides is a challenge. So probably we're not talking about reducing the use of pesticide, but also probably to have a better use, considering that it's already being used in whole Europe, South America, Australia, Asia, for instance. So it's really complicated at the moment to try to reduce or mitigate to zero the use of pesticides. So, but also what we know is that because climate change is happening, a lot of pests has been evolving. Therefore, they are very difficult to control. And not controlling those pests, of course, generate a lot of losses, decrease the yield, and of course, the end product quality is also damaged. Therefore, the whole system structure is get damaged. But the problem is that the information from pests is also changing because climate change is making some pests more dangerous than what used to be before, and the ones that were very dangerous are more less dangerous right now. So the use of pesticides right now is a massive challenge, and therefore integrated pest management is an aspect that we are trying to consider in this project as well. On the other hand, the use of fertilizer follow the same route. I mean, the regions that are using pesticide is almost everywhere around the world. So we have a fertilized use that is basically a requirement because the consumption of certain crops need to be maintained. But we understand that the soil, the water availability, air pollutions, and many other factors make some region not as productive as they used to be. Therefore, the use of fertilizer can certainly mitigate those negative effects. But also when we deal with pests, the idea is try to combine the use of good fertilizers. So therefore, pests also can be under control. Therefore, we can find like a reduction of use of a pesticide, basically. So this is more or less the very brief idea of what we're looking at. We try to integrate the use of fertilizer and pesticide. Nevertheless, because this is an Horizon 2020 call, of course, this is not just about those two aspects. I mean, there is many aspects that should be put in place at the same time. So the proposal in general, what it's really looking at is about to reduce the dependence on hazardous pesticides, reducing the losses of nutrients from fertilizer to a zero pollution of water, soil, and air, and ultimate fertilizer use, which means that we need to be sure that we can guarantee a good use of water, the soil has been maintained, and also air must be maintained clean in some way. So cover this challenge implies to consider several types of stakeholders at the same place. So we're not looking at only agronomists, we're looking also at government, we look at technologies developers, we look at innovation centers, research center as well. So in this project, what are we expecting to be the main outcomes? So we look at decrease the dependency on the use of hazardous pesticides. We're looking at reduce the loss of nutrients from fertilizers and ultimately fertilizer use. So increase the efficiency of fertilizers. So use less fertilizer to produce more. Providing sufficient, safe, nutritious, healthy, and affordable food for all the stakeholders, basically, across the whole agri-food food supply chain. Improve the overall sustainability of food system, which means that we're looking at enhancing social and health. We look at enhancing climate and environmental, but also the economical aspect. And finally, we're looking also to improve resilience of food system to shock, to better answer to shocks and stresses in the agriculture world. The main contributions that we're expecting to achieve with this project is about to reduce the overall use and risk of chemical pesticide by 50% and the use of more hazardous pesticide by 50% in 2030. And reducing the nutrient losses by 50%, which will reduce the use of fertilizer by at least 20% by 2030. Those challenges and contributions is what the European Commission has set as what they expect from the project outcome. So therefore, we are at this very moment, we are building a consortium that can contribute to those aspects. We're looking at the moment partners that can contribute to several areas, basically. So we're looking at partners that can connect to system thinking or system approach, especially to validate all the drivers and systems that can really identify the root, the causes, and to identify the systemic solutions in order to connect consumption, food and nutrition security, food system resilience, and food safety. Also, we're looking for partners that can help us to demonstrate solutions from production to consumption in practice, which means that we're looking to upscale current solutions that are already in place, that are already working. So if anybody has any technology that you would like to put in other areas, imagine you have a market already in place, let's say in Spain or in Italy or in France. We would like to get a partner also that with an extended solution that can enhance their business access or market access to the rest of Europe to this proposal. But also the most of these solutions need to be applied in a multi-sector area to connect environmental, socioeconomic, geographical, and cultural aspects. Also, we're looking for partners that can help us to engage with young professionals. So we're looking to engage with more innovative ideas, especially young farmers, young fisher, for instance, young researchers, young entrepreneurs. A small, medium enterprise and customers and citizens are also a requirement from this proposal. We're looking for partners that can help us to bring up the solutions and to test and demonstrate them in a ready-to-use or market commercialization aspect. Therefore, the proposal, as you can see, tried to be very competitive and integrative with different aspects. Considering the main outcome is about the reduction of the use of fertilizer, the reduction of uses of pesticide and making more efficient the use of fertilizer. Also, we have other aspects to consider, like the one that I just mentioned. So in terms of this, the requirements to get involved in this type of proposals will require to have a valid PIC number, right? So also, the Horizon 2020 calls are open to any legal entity, which means that individuals, research and companies, institutions, universities, association organizations, which are part of the EU member state or a country associated to the Horizon 2020. Also, we're expecting that partners should help us to lead or contribute to work packages, provide or contribute a pilot. That means that we can apply that in real terms. Contribute with man-hour to support the project development. So eventually, if you get involved in this proposal, you will be expected to contribute with certain times during the week in order to get your input in the proposal. Validate the proposal, of course, especially considering the up-to-date industry challenge and requirements. Get your expertise to validate what the solutions are. And of course, if possible, to provide some in-kind contribution, which means that try to get a value of your contribution in terms of time, man hours, or facilities. The main benefit in order to get involved in this proposal, of course, that you will be part of a very good competitive network that is already in place, especially from partners from the UK, Spain, Italy, and France, and Greece. So we're looking at to enhance this proposal by connecting more apply technologies in this field. The financial contribution to go around, depending on the participation, will be around between 100 and 600,000 euros, depending, as I said, in terms of the involvement of you in this proposal. The project is expected to last 3 years. We may try to think in 4 years probably, but normally we're looking at 3 years of the proposal. But also this will depend on the number of partners involved. At the moment, sorry, we have a good set of partners involved, but we are more keen now also to include more pilots that can help us to validate the ultimate solution of this proposal. So currently we're working with Javier Lahuerta, FEDACOVA, who introduced me in this meeting. So if you have more questions or if you feel like that this is a proposal or a call that you would like to get involved in, please feel free to contact us. This is our details, and then we will be more than keen to have more individual meetings to see how you can get involved in this proposal. So that's my presentation, Javier.
Thank you very much, Jorge. And now I know you have to go for your lessons, so we are gonna start with Ana Palanca, and later on, if somebody wants to contact us for the project, they can talk directly with me, and we will share more information and more details.
Thank you, Javier.
Okay, now the next one gonna be our colleague from Aimplas, is Plastics Research Center in Valencia. It's really close to FEDACOVA headquarters, and this research center is one of the top research centers about plastics in Europe. So thank you very much, Ana, for staying with us. And please feel free, and whenever you want, you can start.
So good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Javier, for your kind introduction. And I hope the presentation will give you some courage to start with these Green Deal opportunities and to share together our concerns and thoughts about this new opportunity. Well, I'm going to share with you my presentation. Hopefully it will work. So, okay.
Perfect.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. I just want to. Yes, now I think it's working. Okay, so as Javier said, I'm going to present some opportunities in the field of plastics and circular economy in the Green Deal. I have structured my presentation in two parts. I would like to introduce Aimplas to you just briefly, just so you will know our activities and in which project we've been involved. And also would like to talk about the Green Deal opportunities, because now we have a big challenge in January, and I think we need to join forces to achieve a successful proposal. So, well, first of all, Aimplas, as Javier described, we are a plastic research center. We are located in Paterna, in the technological park. As you could see in the picture, our facilities are divided in different buildings. So we could have there our pilot plants that they are helping the industries to simulate their industrial processes, and also we are doing our research and development activities there. So we have different pilot plants and also different kinds of laboratories. What we do, we work in the whole plastic value chain. So we have synthesis, polymer synthesis capacities up to pilot plant level. So we work with different raw materials, with biodegradable materials, fossil fuel materials. And what can we do with them? We could change their properties or improve their properties by means of compounding process. So we could have a better mechanical properties, thermal properties, depending on the requirements of the final application. We have also different processing techniques. We have extrusion, injection, RTM, pultrusion, lamination, 3D printing, based on the needs of the different sectors. And which kind of end users do we work with? So we work with the packaging sector, automotive, health, industry, building. When there's plastic, here we are. And also we are working in the recovery of plastic waste, which is a very dramatic problem at worldwide level, and we are very committed to that. In Aimplas, we have found that there are a lot of opportunities in the frame of the circular economy for the companies. So as we think of circular economy, an opportunity of redesign the linear model that it has been developed since the revolution, the Industrial Revolution. Now we need to think of the eco-design of the products from cradle to grave, especially how we are going to dispose this product, how we are going to tackle the end life. Is it going to be landfill, recycle, reuse? Could it be biodegraded? So we have different options. We could also be more efficient in terms of energy. We could reduce our CO2 emissions. We could also have industrial symbiosis which means that we are going to have a win-win situation with other companies, and we could boost our innovation opportunities. We could use recycled plastic materials, also plastic materials that come from renewable sources. We could apply also recyclable products, and also we can achieve some eco levels that could improve the perception of our consumers, and also to have a real value for them. And finally, we could have a voluntary certification of plastic waste treatment facilities. Which benefits are we getting from the circular economy application? We could reduce the resources and energy that we use. We could reduce as well the waste generation. We can realign the national production systems. We could create wealth and employment, and we could promote the innovation and competitiveness. And last but not least, we are contributing to fight against climate change. I'm going to show you some projects in which we've been working from the circular economy perspective. First of all, there's a Bread for PLA, which is a Life Plus project in which we've been using different sources of bakery waste and then producing biopolymers based on polylactic acid. This has been an awarded project because it started a long time ago when circular economy was not so well known. And then we are involved in the European project AFIA, which is using sources of fish waste and solid bio-waste fractions to obtain different biomacromolecules such as lipid, acid nucleics, proteins that combine in different green chemistry routes are producing flame retardants, different polymers, and also coatings with a high active barrier. And finally, the project AgriMax, which is as well an European project, which is using different agro waste coming from tomatoes, potatoes, cereals, and olives. And this combined with a multi-biorefinery approach is obtaining products such as fertilizers, additives, different packagings. And especially I would like to highlight the fertilizers, which are going to be used again in the farming of the crops. So we are closing completely the loop. And well, now I'm going to focus in these Green Deal opportunities. In Aimplas, in fact, we have selected a specific topic, which is the core, I guess, of all of you as well, which is from farm to fork strategy. Specifically, these two topics, subtopic B and E, that are innovation actions. First of all, is achieving a climate neutral food businesses by mitigating climate change, reducing energy use and increasing energy efficiency in processing, distribution, conservation, and preparation of food. And subtopic E focus on reducing food losses, waste at every stage of the food chain, including consumption, while also avoiding unsustainable packaging. So in order to achieve a successful proposal for each one of the topics, we have been wondering ourselves several questions that I would like to share with you. First of all, in our proposed approach is, what is our understanding of the part of the problem to be solved? So we believe that we need to focus on food waste valorization to obtain biopolymers and bioadditives to be used in the plastic industry. We would like to increase shelf life to reduce the waste coming from the packed food. We like to achieve safe and sustainable packaging and control and characterize this packaging. Second question is, what part of the scope we want to address? So in which TRL are we focusing? From our side as a research center, we are able to validate the sustainable packaging up to TRL 6, which means that we could work at pilot plant level, getting the product or the film or the polymer ready to be scaled up in industrial facilities after this validation. The third question is, which organization capabilities are we bringing? Which value are we adding to this proposal? So we have different ISO accredited laboratories from the physico-mechanical, food contact and biodegradation perspective. And we also have pilot plants and research for research activities such as reactors, extrusion lines for flexible and semi-rigid packaging, injection equipment, lines for coating application. Also, our past experience has been pretty wide. So we've been involved from FP5 up to Horizon 2020 in more than 100 European projects. So we could also bring not just our expertise, but also our management and coordination capacities, and also some dissemination and exploitation and knowledge for the development of these sustainable and high performance food packages. And one key important question is, who are we joining forces with? So what are we looking for? We are looking for research centers, SMEs, large industries, which have complementary activities that could help us, and we will help them achieving our common objective. And also, we need to be in touch with food and agricultural associations. And also, we are wondering, what previous work can we bring to the team? Are we ready to have this TRL that the project is requesting? So we have expertise that could be justified in synthesis of biopolymers and additives from agro-industrial food waste. We have capacity to develop active packaging at high barrier materials, intelligent system for monitoring transport and distribution of packed food and detecting expiring dates. We could study the food safety of novel bio-based materials for food contact applications. And we have updated knowledge of plastic markets, applications, technical requirements, and regulations. And of course, we have an international network of contacts that have been developed during the years after cooperating in different regional, national, and European projects. And this strength has been maintained during our lifetime. So, well, this is our experience, how we see the Green Deal opportunities. And we believe that sharing forces and brainstorm and bringing our ideas together would help us to be successful in these proposals. And of course, if you would like to know more about Aimplas, just contact me. And also we could discuss potential ideas, and we could also join forces for not just for Green Deal, but also for Horizon Europe. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ana. Now, if somebody has any question or wants to contact Ana, now Ismael gonna start his presentation, and he's gonna do also dynamics in order to engage with those two proposals already presented, Jorge and Ana. So now I'm gonna bring the micro and bring the time to Ismael. He's gonna propose one more project, and he will also perform the dynamics. Ismael, when you feel ready, you can start.
I need you to act, Javier.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I would like to share also my screen. Am I able to?
You are able, yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay. Good morning, everybody. In fact, what we are going to share is something.
You have to stop sharing the screen.
Can you see the screen?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, fine. I was just opening the file. So, good morning, everybody. I hope you have safe lives in your place. And after those two interesting project proposals, what we would like to go is one step ahead. I mean, in Embrace project, as you know, we have also a commitment to try to make long-lasting relations among those institutions that are very focused and very interested on promoting circular economy, and I would say not only circular economy, contribute to make circular also the society. So from our experience and of course through the implementation of the project, all of the partners and of course us in Valencia, we have developed quite interesting approach, which is to create like circles. That's why we titled these EU circles to promote circular economy. And that's the proposal. In fact, it's not just a project proposal. It's more, I would say, something like creating a joint task force among those institutions that would share this vision in order to create perhaps not only one, but several project proposals in coming years. So thanks, FEDACOVA, for this opportunity and all the team for this successful implementation of this Interreg program in our region, which has helped a lot, especially to some SMEs that would not perhaps made circular projects to start doing so. So metacluster, what is it? And it's up to us. I mean, we don't have any formal definition. We have like the commitment among the partners to create something that would connect us and perhaps as well to others. So that's why we are welcoming people not joining the Embrace project, but having the same vision and the same focus and the same objectives than we do. And that's why we are really now today proposing you to create this joint task force among those partners with the same interest. Why? Of course, there are many things that we cannot do alone. I mean, Embrace has demonstrated how powerful it is to create a consortium. We have had experts on tools, others have had an approach on wine. We had another special and vertical focus on different subsectors in agri-food. Agri-food is such a big sector that you many times need to make verticals. So it's good to have this, I would say, joint task force to be able to build the future that we wish. So it means that we want to create a long-lasting relation. This is not intended to have hundreds of institutions, but the ones that would commit to join, we should have very close relations and create this trust. And from that, the portfolio of projects will appear. And of course, everything needs to be proposed and create together. That's why co-creation and this process that has already started. I mean, and some partners have already made efforts preparing projects. We also will share a couple of initiatives that we are running as well. But we would like to have this umbrella and this common and joint effort to work together. What we have learned, and I want to share with you just a couple of slides, because this is for transferring, and we were trying to sort of packing all the insights and all the learnings that we had got during the implementation of Embrace. And we were talking about circular economy circles. And now we want you to just to go micro. I mean, to go to the SME and to think very locally, not on a cluster vision, but how an SME could work or could really start making circularity. And there are many times that circular projects will need to go beyond the limits of the company. So you need to involve either your partners, either your customers, either your suppliers. Many times you do not have the economy of scale, for instance, on waste valorization to manage just your own and to have your own solution. So you need like the same solution for different companies with the same sector. If we talk about energy, if we talk about the valorization of organic waste, there is always this synergy that you get if you work with more people. And at the end, we have very similar problems. So if that's the starting, it should perhaps be better to think that we could together make something much powerful. It is not only about SMEs, it is also about trying to share and to help citizens to become much more proactive and also help society in general to know this power that the active consumer may have. Of course, you can have citizens or just users. You could have really, I would say, compromised and activism citizens around these issues. But we need to share with them. We need to involve them somehow. We need to communicate them. Of course, we need as well to encourage and to support food producers on this circular transition. I like a lot this recent pitch that the president of the commission said, parliament said. She was like, of course, promoting this Green Deal, but there is a line in which she was focusing that we should not have losers on this transformation. So the transition is something very key, and we will have to devote efforts to help, especially small SMEs and the small producers to make this green transformation. And of course, we need to valorize everything that could contribute to a healthier and more circular food ecosystem. So that's, of course, not a challenge that you can do on your own, not even on your own cluster. It's something that we need to share. We was creating groups. In fact, we describe them more, or the best approach is to describe them like learning communities, but learning through practices and through the implementation of actions. And at the end, because of the trust, you really get communities. So it is quite easy to create new initiatives and projects among the people that has already been working. We establish like a roadmap of joint efforts in those specific issues that could be circular challenges, and that create this very, I would say, very interesting community. Okay, so you practice, you get more confident, you trust with others, you identify new opportunities, again, you create new projects and so on. So what they are groups of people, committed people. We like a lot to say people and not only institutions or companies, because at the end we are as well I would say the ones promoting this activism towards circularity, and that comes to the values of the organizations and of course the people inside. Companies, of course, many times is on the same sector or on the same value chain, because it's how many circular opportunities appear. But of course, we need technology. We've seen, for instance, recently this very interesting Aimplas Institute that could be a good partner to solve many of those challenges. We could also involve here startups, spin-off, or even research departments that are really connected to the real world, and some intermediaries. We call them circular economy brokers. It could be institutions like FEDACOVA, it could be clusters, it could be consultants, it could be any type of people that would be able to make this happening. We need to create or co-create this circular roadmap, which is the final goal, which are the different lines we want to explore together, and from that we create projects. Of course, not ideas. We transform those ideas into real by trying to get, of course, the fundraising to get the economic resources we need, but also many times it's not about money. It's about time or a small budget, pocket money to make a pilot and to make a demonstrator, to really inspire and to convince others. And many times it's about creating a good profit and loss account on this, because many times circular economy is connected to saving, is connected to better positioning and marketing with the final customer. And of course, those people representing those type of institutions, which are companies, technology providers, and those brokers, they need to have the capacity to decide which are the efforts we want to transform into projects. And of course, they need to involve their companies. And if it is the case, even to create a new joint venture among the partners, because that's something that happens. We had the companies in our node, in our circle in Valencia, different companies, small companies, tractor companies, from different sectors, pastry, fruits, logistics, fertilizers, and that's a good approach. I mean, but they said they had the same intention. They wanted to become more circular. We had, of course, those technological centers and research departments very linked to the agri-food sector, and very reputed ones. So we had very easy this connection between technology centers and companies to put them together at the same table to start working. And there's some support organizations. It is not only about money, it's also about providing support and helping later, once we have those seeds for projects, to make them real. Piloting, with contacts, with dissemination, or whatever. It's of course different. It could be solving or transforming an SME, or creating new companies, or perhaps activating entrepreneurship inside organizations to be able to create new initiatives using your own staff, but also in joint venture with others. How do we promote? Of course, starting small, and that's why we are considering that this meta cluster issue, or these European circles, should as well start small. Start with people, institutions with the same vision and common values, having this circularity as a very high or top priority on their agenda. It is not something that it's of the interest of one person. It's the institution that really has this top level commitment with this. And of course, capacity and empowerment, the skills, but also time and this entrepreneurial energy to transform ideas into results. Okay, so it is better to have smaller groups, but having the same level of commitment, than having a large team in which some of them are just followers, because that would really be a barrier to create. And then we had this, I would say, big problem. I mean, if we are just considering projects, is this really sustainable? Or once the budget, if it is a public funding, disappear, then the project disappear? So this ephemeral thing is something that we are really worried. And that's why we, whenever it's possible, we start to transform projects into new business, or into joint business coming from corporate social responsibility, but together involving startups. So we really are considering that to be sustainable and to have impact, you need also to be economic. You need to have economic viability. And that's, I would say, we made this analysis from the embrace. Let's try to make this transfer to this European dimension. So if we are running a project, let's say that was a circular project, something that John, together different partners, institutions, we have been promoting and creating smaller circles in our regions. How do we arrange ourselves for long-lasting relations? That's something we just call EU circles. And that's the proposal is just open for discussion. It is a draft. It is, of course, the double check of this is going to be if some of you are interested to join this effort. So we are thinking on these European circles, connecting circles. So it is not just like a network of individuals. It should be a network of circles which are already coordinated, because then we have much more capacities, and the similarities of these circles putting together at the European level. So each, I would say, partner territory should create a circle. Of course, embrace partners, we have it already, because we was working in all those on all our nodes on the same way. We have SMEs, we have involved tractor companies, we have technology providers, intermediaries, or advanced consultancy and engineering, because we have been creating these smaller ecosystems, those local circles. So creating the umbrella should be creating this European circle of different circles. So how could it work? How we could create different circles, because we think that it could be as well interesting to have a very clear focus. Circular economy is very wide, so we could have a huge umbrella considering different European circles with a special expertise or focus. One entity, for instance, now we're going to make this proposal from FEDACOVA, could be the circle coordinator, the one promoting, boosting the initiative, and with a description on which is going to be the mission for this European circle, and which are those requirements that should consider every single node, every single local territory that would apply to join this EU circle. Of course, any interested institution would describe how they are acting locally, so their circle, their ecosystem. They should emphasize on which are the singularities, what are they bringing to this European network of circles. Of course, have a contact person, and that's packed together in expression of interest. I mean, a very open document on its format, but covering the previous topics to make your proposal to join this circle. So then the circle coordinator would collect the expression of interest from those interested institutions, and we'll consider that, and together with the partners that have been working on the definition of the mission. Of course, we are now using embrace partner and direct partners on existing projects to do so, but it will be open. I mean, this is an open governance initiative, and it is not something that the leader is managing and the rest are following. We will choose together an opportunity to have this spark. I mean, to start working actively. It could be, of course, a European call for projects that could be the trigger to start making teamwork and co-creating specific proposals. It could be a conference, an online conference, a workshop, some specific issue that could be of interest of the people, like we are trying to do today, or at least to make like the kickoff, or any other thing. So please, guys, think out of the box and just be creative on how we could make this spark thing, just to burn the initiative and to start working. And here's our proposal. We are very interested to join a circle, European circle, that would the mission we summarize to contribute to the Green Food Deal. I mean, we know this framework, Green Deal, as the global vision of the economy. We've seen several initiatives from farm to fork and others, but we are very interested to help our small companies. Some of them are producers, all of them are in local industry, and we are very worried if we do not help them on this transition, they would not be on the winners. So they would be perhaps followers, or if we do not move, we do not make efforts on the loser side. So that's why we need to mobilize producers, farmers, the industry, logistics. In our value chain, everything is very connected. So they really could include in their value proposition the attributes that we are deciding for future, which is healthier, greener, safer, and circular as well. But also we need to work with the users, the consumers, with your citizens. So the vision that this Green Deal says would make Europe the first market in the world demanding this green food. So we need to go in parallel. I mean, we need to really make this democratize this capacity to produce green on the producer side, and also we need to help the citizens to have this capacity to be very, very powerful from the demand and really valorize those attributes. Which are the objectives that we would declare on this European Circle on Green Food Deal? To create active citizens demanding, consuming, and participating in the EU circular market construction. Of course, committed EU producers that want to contribute to that, valorizing both sides, shortening the distance among them, granting long-lasting bonds of trust among them. And it came to our mind that we should go perhaps a little bit further than kilometer zero. We should consider kilometer Europe. It means, of course, we need to have local and circular products and to reduce emissions. But of course, not in every single place of Europe we are producing the same products. So in Finland, they wish to have oranges. The same, we wish to have good meat from perhaps Ireland or Norway. And so to have this dimension of our European market as the local market is something very, but following normally those principles that could be. Okay, let's continue. How would work this? Which type of actions? I was telling that the first task that together with the institutions that will join this, we should try to make is create the vision and also to make the roadmap with which the lines and the efforts and the milestones that we wish to put together. But we have already started working here. So which are these, I would say, drivers that would be included on all those EU circles? Of course, there is a global and a specific approach, which is it should be omni-channel. I mean, we should try to be global, but we should try to be very vertical. We have realized that agro-food is not the same if you are talking about wine or pastry industry or meat or dairy or fresh fruits. So we need to have like the common platform, the common solution for the full sector, whenever we are talking about those big attributes and any labeling system or traceability or trust. But then we need to go very vertical whenever we are trying to solve the specific needs of each different value chain. That's why we are telling those are the way we want to approach global and specific, sorry. Technology needs to solve different issues. Here we are starting already a project. In fact, it's already working, and next year we'll have this platform already in a pilot stage. We have been working with other partners in another project, and that's why we wanted to share with you the need to have this umbrella, because we could have like parallel efforts from different partners, but all together contributing to the same vision. Let me go just a couple of slides to this other project. This is an INNOSU project in which we are there as well, and we are trying to help SMEs to, not SMEs, startups, technology companies to solve the challenge that we have on the industry. I mean, in the traditional sectors like agriculture. And here we described. We are thinking and we are asking a startup. Of course, the startup has already been selected and is being working on the development of the blockchain network. This blockchain network should contribute to the same goals we are talking about this EU circle: food sovereignty, kilometer zero, kilometer Europe, minimum emissions. So reducing these emissions, local first would be the approach. Contributing to the trust and a healthy shopping basket in Europe, contribute to biodiversity, avoiding social dumping, fair trade, decent jobs, eco and bio, no waste. Those are the issues, the problems we want to solve. We are thinking that this should be not an individual platform, but I would say all those different subsectors involved. That's why instead of just focusing on one cluster, we are considering to have this blockchain as one element for the Green Food Deal EU circle. Blockchain is a technology that can really make or provide trust and to connect all different elements. Just as an example, we are working with people or companies from the meat sector, also from sustainable catering sector, implement this blockchain to solve all the issues that they have on their value chain, which is similar on the steps: farm, storage, conservation, cooking, and delivery on the sustainable catering, and a little bit different meat, which is the feed, the farm, livestock, the slaughterhouse, industry, elaboration, logistics, and commerce. But the platform behind this is the same. Okay? So this is just to give you like a brief idea on how we consider that Allianz Agro should work. We should have like a common global roadmap and different projects providing like the pieces of the puzzle that we want to build together. Of course, that will be available for all the partners and will be piloted to demonstrate and to scale the solution to the partners joining those cycles. Of course, public policies, if we have some learnings from this embrace, is critical that we need to help traditional companies to make this transition. They will be losers, and we need the public policies to specifically solve the different needs of different subsectors. Road mapping is relevant, and to make this roadmap not alone, but together with partners, and of course fundraising as these seed resources that will be necessary to start creating initiatives and implementing projects. So, as we are several people, we have prepared this Mentimeter to try to get your feedback. Of course, after the presentation and after these questions, we would like to listen to you as well if we have time. But to collect and to harvest your feedback, we have prepared this. So this is very easy. You could just click on the link. I will need to copy paste the link just to use the chat, or you could scan the QR code. You put that on your own, and with sorry. Let me find the chat. Or Javier, if you could manage that, you could try to copy paste the link and put it on the chat so the people could just make it.
Okay, anyway, you have the chat. If you go to the top of your screen, you will see like many options there. You go to chat, and but I will look for it.
Yeah, please, because okay, it's here. Yeah, Javier, you can help me on that. Thank you. So the idea is that you go to this link and you give us your feedback. I mean, if you are interested, you would be interested to join. Here, what we are asking is, of course, you could be interested, and you could already have like your own circle. So that's why we are asking, yes, indeed, we are interested to propose only the need you could be interested, or you could just be interested to make the link with your local circle, or you are just considering to be participating in, but you are not interested in promoting a new EU circle. Or, of course, you could be not interested at all on those EU circles initiatives. Okay. So I'll give you, yeah.
Now the results: 4 people vote and 3 people inside the platform. 2 of the votes are yes, indeed, we are interested.
We can see that because I'm now accessing to the results. This is the nice part of this type of platforms. They give you the results online. So the idea is just to have a first feedback on some certain topics. So we have at least we have 3 of you are interested to lead and propose new EU circles. 4 of you would be joining because you have already a circle in your territory, and the rest you are interested. So that's something that is promising, because let's go a little bit more specific. Now I would like you to answer this other question, which is feedback about the Green Food Deal Circle. So we would like you now, either you enter the code for this specific question, if you are using, for instance, your mobile with webmenti.com, or you use the QR code, or you use this this link that Javier will copy paste to the chat again. So here the question is specifically addressed to those interested to join this circle that we are proposing from FEDACOVA. Okay, so we will be like creating these meta clusters, but with specific different efforts, and we are suggesting to collect those really interested institutions on Green Food Deal. And of course, the idea is to have in each of the nodes of those partner territories the 3 elements: companies, technology providers, and intermediators that could make this happen. Okay, so I hope you are answering on that. Let me check if we have as well results. Okay, so people are starting to answer. We have 3 answers already. That's well promising. I will give you some more time. In fact, this presentation, and of course those links will be available for you after the presentation. So it will collect during today any other feedback that you would be interested to provide. Okay, so we see at least 4 answers and positive, interested, and you have already a couple of circles, local circles would be interested to join, and a couple of individual institutions. Of course, you could be interested, and it's something that later could be built. I mean, you could start as an individual organization with this, I would say, commitment to involve the rest of the partners that you need in your local ecosystem to create this neighborhood that would really be crucial to push and promote circularity. Excellent. Let's continue. I mean, you can see if some of you have not reached. And now we would like to get comments. I mean, you could write your interest if you are interested in promoting a new European circle. If you could just be interested to give us a comment, the same. Okay, so we arrange another type of question here in which you could write short answers. And it is not just choosing, you could give us your feedback. It's up to you. You can make it anonymous, or you could as well, when you write the comment, add, of course, the name of your institution or even your own name, so we can have this common feedback. And of course, this will not substitute the opportunity to share now talking, but it's here. We are very interested to listen you and your comments. Of course, that was our contribution. But if you want to make any comment, any feedback, okay, that's fine. So we see it works, and somebody is behind the keyboard as well. Excellent. Thanks for that. Again, this is going to be available for a while, so you will be able to answer. Javier, how is the timing? I mean, is it okay if we have now the opportunity to give the floor to any interested partner that could be interested to talk?
Yes, indeed, there are at least 2 participants. Guglielmo from Italy, from Galpartenio, and Miguel Cachao from Avimpe, from Portugal. They want to say, present some organization and ideas.
Okay, thanks. So I will give you the floor, Javier, because I think you manage which is the order for the people to answer or to contribute, and I would leave for the last of the session this very last question in which you could give us the feedback about the workshop. So you could evaluate the workshop in general and every of the 3 different presentations and activities that we are providing: Liverpool, Aimplas, and this one from FEDACOVA. So you can do this on your own, and we could, if you like, Javier, I will stop sharing my screen so we can see each other's faces, and we could give the floor to the people that is interested to talk. Okay?
Perfect.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Okay, so now I'm gonna ask to Miguel first if you want to join and you want to show your organization and your proposals. I'm gonna ask to turn off the video so we can see you. Miguel? Miguel, can you listen to me? I think we have listened.
Well, I think the is passing by your mate and try to connect that with our work on Embrace project and our basic activity. So AVIP is a grapevine growers association. We are located 40 kilometers south of Lisbon. We situations with grapevines and wines. So we have our core business is basically technical consultancy on integrated pest management, irrigation, fertilization. We do some investment projects to farmers in Europe, which is embraced. This Interact Net is one of them. We also have tried to conduct some kind of R&D, not in projects. And to our first comment about farm strategy, which I think it was mentioned in our presentations, is that one of the aims of the European to reduce the consumption of pesticides. It's quite an effort to come to organic. Prior to 250 farmers to use pesticides. Do they know when they have to? Yes.
Miguel, I'm having some issues to listen to you.
Javier.
Yes. I have some issues to listen to you.
Yes. Sorry, is it better now?
Yeah, better.
Okay. But is it better? Okay. And by the way, we organic pressure about the commission. Another goal of this farmer strategy is to develop the digitalization 2025. And one of the figure out is that
Miguel, I cannot listen to you anymore. Miguel, I cannot listen to you anymore. I cannot listen to you. I cannot listen to you, Miguel. I'm sorry. Let's continue with Guglielmo from Gal Partenio. Guglielmo, please. Guglielmo, can you listen to me?
Hello, here.
Good morning.
Good morning. I don't know. Maybe you won't give the word, pass the word to Maurizio from Gal Partenio, because I am from Asforseo. I don't know if he.
Maurizio Reveruzzi. You can also talk now.
Yes, Javier. Good morning at all. I think it's very interesting this webinar. Here in Campania region, we have a similar think about circular economy, and in the next webinar we can say our opinion about our experience. Yeah,
Thank you very much. Now, if any of the participants would like to contact with Ana Palanca about her project proposal, or if you want the contact for Jorge and our project proposal, and try to connect, try to create circles for the project and participate, please feel free now to talk, to introduce yourself, or just if not, Anna sent the mail in the chat openly to everybody, and if you want to participate in Jorge's proposal, you can write to the mail he attached in his presentation, or just contact me and I will put you in touch with them.
Yes, Javier,
Yeah.
may I? Yes, Guillermo Mazzarelli from As4SEO. So thank you very much for the meeting. It was very, very interesting, and the presentation from the professor and Anna are very, and Ismael are very, very good, and we can work on the proposals. And I would like to introduce another event within the Embrace project. It is clearly linked to today's event. It will be held on 16th of October. And we are going to discuss with the main speaker, who is Professor Fava from University of Bologna, about the possibility, the opportunity to join forces to respond to the coming calls into the Green Deal framework and other frameworks of the European Union. So I can I would like to exchange with you some points on the webinar, or the coming webinar. I will copy and paste in the chat the title, and just to remember the date, and then an invitation will follow, so you all are kindly invited to join the meeting, and it will be another occasion to join forces and talk about perspective cooperation. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now seems that Miguel can talk again. So Miguel, can you try?
Yes. Javier, are you listening?
Yeah, now we can listen to you better.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Sorry for all this mess, but yeah, I'm promised to be brief. So I was making a presentation of AVIP. AVIP is a grapevine growers association. So we just work with grapevines and wines. We were settled 40 kilometers south of Lisbon, and we cover about 4,000 hectares of grapevine consultancy. And on these, they are integrated about 300 farmers, small, medium, big. So we have all kinds of situations. So our core business is technical assistance on pest management, irrigation, fertilization. We do some investment projects for farmers. We also do some education for them. And on the last years, we have been involved in some R&D, especially when we were involved in some European projects, which Interreg-Med project is one of them. But we also have conducted some individual studies, which lead us to some critics to the farm to fork strategy. So we have made an inquiry to 250 farmers about what drives them to make some pesticides spray, what leads them to think and to make the decision to spray the crop. And we have figured out that the concept of integrated pest management, which is already a concept for about 30 years, it's not completely understood for them. And we know that if we are going to press farmers to go to organic, the things are not going to be good. So, and even more, if European Union is doing some deals with Mercosur, which 80% of the active substances they are using are already banned in Europe and even Northern Africa, it's quite unfair for farmers in Europe to ask them to do some kind of agriculture that none of the old projects in Europe go for it. So also another critics we do to the farm to fork strategy, and I think you all have passed by it, is that European Commission wants to go for the digitalization of farming and try to connect the rural areas by 2025. And we know that's really, really difficult and quite really hard. If we're going to put some sensors and some data gathering in some farm quite far away from everything, where we don't have a quite good connection, I don't know what's the purpose to go for and try to make it like this an objective. But because we have been involved in some at least proposals that's trying to work the territorial issues, which the services to rural communities, the digitalization have been the principal aim, and it's really, really hard to think on rural areas in a concept where sometimes the cities wanted them to be. I don't know if I make myself clear, but sometimes the pressure comes from the cities to the rural areas, and it's not an easy way to copy and paste. And we struggle with some difficulties, and the path is quite far from what sometimes we think it's just to put it on a paper. But this Embrace project was quite interesting for us. We have made quite a connection with some companies, with some industries. We have developed some sort of an algae cluster where we use the waste from the winery to develop this algae, and then they can be processed for animal feed. And we also have developed a consortium for a bio-based industry proposal, which was submitted in the beginning of September, to use to recover the CO2 from the fermentation of wine to go to algae reactors, and then we can work with those algae to food, cosmetics, and biostimulants. So we have gathered some sort of clusters. I don't know if you can say this way. As I mentioned, the algae. We also have the one about energy, and we are trying to develop. And finally, what we have figured out that it's more difficult to implement these strategies is one way is a problem of scale. We can produce quite a big amount of waste, but for some industries, they are not big enough. And the other problem is regarding legislation. There are some barriers to legislation and to work with waste, which should be overtaken, and I think it's quite a big barrier on this. So, sorry, Javier, for all this mess with my communication, with my presentation, but I just wanted to comment this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miguel.
I would like to give a word, if not now, so Javier, you match the order.
Ismael, can you repeat? Sorry.
I am interested to talk, answer Miguel, if you word reviews, you just give them and I will come back later.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Okay, Spiker. Thanks, Miguel, to arise this issue. In my presentation, there is a very clear interest to help existing business on this transition to this Green Deal. I know, and we know, because that's also happening in our territory, that this from farm to fork very first I would say, message is not being well accepted from the farmers and producers and small businesses, because they are like just defining which is the vision, so reducing pesticides and reducing anything that could be against this healthier life in future, but they are not really solving the problem of just removing that. So, and I could give you more examples on different subsectors. So there is a big task on our side in which we should make this visible. We should try to make the transition visible for both farmers and producers. And as you were telling, this should be also a coherent and transversal theme on the European policy actions, because allowing third countries here products that are not being produced with the same rules, the social dumping, environmental dumping that would occur would make not really feasible the model. Okay, so I think we need to work, and that's why I was like telling that those nodes or joint efforts should work on the transition, should work on the public policy makers to open their eyes on which are the particular problems and solutions, and how the transition needs to be feasible. Because if we start doing this something top down, which has not a real a direct contact with the bottom up, with the producers, with the small business, and especially the smallers are the ones with less capacity to solve their issues alone. So you are touching something that is very, very relevant as well for us, and I think it is like a huge and transversal action that we all together should consider. So thanks for that point, and also our contribution to the same vision. We need to help on the fair transition towards this healthier and greener food system in Europe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miguel, and thank you very much, Ismael. Now, in order to finish, I would like to know if Ana wants to say something else. If any of the partners wants to talk, propose any kind of project proposal, wants to share his contact, wants to ask for Jorge or Ana's contact, and just to wish you luck if you present a project for the Green Deal. And remember, there are another opportunities, many opportunities for the circular economy. Okay, nothing, nobody seems wants to talk. For any other questions, I please invite you to write us an email and ask whatever you want for the presentation. If you also want to have some of the presentations, you also can talk to us and we will share it. And that's all. Thank you very much for attending.
Thank you. See you. Bye.
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 Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Javier, and for all the event. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, Ana.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, see you. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye, Javier.
Goodbye. Bye.
Bye, Ana. Bye, Mauricio.